Dream Achievers. Welcome to the Dreamaholics Podcast. You are listening to episode number 21. I can't believe it's 21. How time flies. Anyway, I know you haven't heard from me in a couple weeks, and I wanted to explain about that a little bit. I have actually been working on a few other projects, a local business called the Dream Tidy house cleaning company, and also, as I mentioned before in my previous podcast episodes, that I also do Amazon selling as well. But I had to take a couple of breaks because, I do a day job, and it was really hard for me to juggle all of the projects all at once. And so I kind of fell off when it comes to this podcast. And I apologize for that, but I might have to take a little bit of a break on the podcast for just a little bit. But I will be back with new episodes, solo, and with new interviews. And also, I'm thinking about revamping the website and everything else, and soon to be 100% focused on this podcast and bringing you new content and webinars and a mastermind group, so all of our dream achievers can meet together and collaborate and support each other to be more of achievers and fulfill our dreams. Anyway, this interview today is with Brandon T. Adams, and if you haven't heard from him, he is also a podcast host of University of Young Entrepreneurs. He is awesome. I also wanted to bring up that he is partners with Greg Relay. I interviewed him on episode number 19, and they have a show out called Ambitous and Ventures. They have a Kickstarter out right now, which I have donated, and I encourage you guys to donate as well. I'll have that in the show notes. This project is amazing. They're doing something to really inspire us millennials to get out there and really pursue our dreams by interviewing other millennials out there that are ambitious and creating their businesses and their dreams and fulfilling them. And I really recommend jumping on the bandwagon and really getting into watching their show that they want to bring to us. So donate, encourage, support each other. We try to, as Dream Achievers on the Dreamaholics Podcast, we try to help each other pursue our dreams. So for that being said, I'm really excited for you guys to hear this interview. So let's get started. Let's talk about your humble beginnings. How did you get started?
Yeah, well, I grew up in Northeast Iowa, small town, Garnavillo, about 750 people. I grew up in an ice business. My dad sold packaged ice for a living. And I laugh because a lot of people, once I had a girl, was like, when are you going to get a real job? They didn't realize that you could actually make money selling frozen water. What I found out in my life, you can make money doing about everything. I met a guy once that he had $1 million business from selling flying squirrels. That's no joke. Flying squirrels.
Oh, funny.
Selling flying squirrels as pets. But I grew up in that ice business, and at a young age, I got to see what it was like to have my dad. He ran a business. He grew that business, and I got to grow it with him. He started that in 1986, and I was born in 89. So, ever since then, and got to see the failures, the successes, the struggles, the good times, all of it. And I was always an entrepreneur. I always liked to sell things. I did St. Jude's Bike-a-thon, always fundraising, top salesman in Boy Scouts, you name it. And then I went to college and went to Iowa State University. And things kind of changed for me. At that point, I was, like a college kid, I guess. I like to have fun. My first semester, though, I had too much fun. Combination of drugs and alcohol and not going to class was not well for me. I got a 1.68 GPA. Actually got kicked out of my dorm 2 days prior to us being done. They kicked me out, and
Oh, wow.
I got on academic probation. I went to jail a couple times. I've been tased before by a cop. Here's the bad side of me that I had. But I ended up turning things around. I knew I had to get through college. At that time, I thought I needed college anyways. And then where my life really changed, I took a pivot, was my junior year of college. And this is why I suggest anybody, if you're in college or if you see events or opportunities, you need to take them up. You need to try different things, because I heard a man by the name of Cactus Jack Behringer talk, and he had been on Shark Tank, season 1 of Shark Tank. And at the end of the story, you're going to hear where this really is cool, how things work, where dreams come true. Jack spoke about inventing $1 million products, how he's made millions, lost millions, and about the mindset. He talked about a book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Have you ever read that book?
Oh, yeah. And I even read that one and his other one, too.
Yes, very good. I tell actually people before they even want to start to work with me, they have to read that book. That and How to Make Friends, Influence Others by Dale Carnegie. And then also I make them listen to like 10 of my podcast shows. But and it's proven, I mean, by them reading that and doing that work, well, for one, they want it bad enough. And two, they can learn and be on the level that I understand, because I believe if you haven't read that book before, then we can't quite communicate at the same level, because it's a Bible for me, and it's just how my mindset. So he led me to that book. And what I got out of it is whatever the mind conceives and believes, the mind achieves. And then also what Jack had told me one day is, Brandon, what you think about the most is what you become. At the time, I didn't really understand what that meant, but really is what you consume your mind with is what you do, and what your reality becomes, your future. And I knew that I could do something big in life. And I saw the success stories of Henry Ford, Andrew Carnegie, and all these people. And I knew that it didn't matter that I got a 1.68 GPA. I wasn't the smartest kid. It just mattered that if I really wanted something and believed in myself, that I could achieve it. And if I found a team around me, we could create something awesome together. And I could be, in my lifetime, become a billionaire, become whatever I want, if I wanted to. So I had that mindset. And it wasn't until the summer going into my last year of college, I had this idea. I was delivering ice in my family business, and I had an idea to keep a bottled beverage colder longer. I had a bottle of water that got warm, and ice cubes are hard to put inside a regular sized bottle. I wanted something different. So, when you have them problems, you come up with these ideas. I came up with this idea called the Arctic Stick, something that would fit inside my drink, keep it colder longer, but also be reusable to put some kind of flavoring in, or at that time, college, I had alcohol in my mind, maybe put in alcohol for a shooter. So I took that to Iowa State University, won a class competition with it, and ended up graduating in 2012. And I'm like, okay, I have an idea. Now what? I had to go raise some money, raise about 10 grand in 6 weeks to just start the initial process. And fast forward 3 years, combination of going on a pilot run of a TV show, going pitching to people, doing all these different things. I learned about product development, about marketing, about manufacturing. After spending $100,000 in 3 years of my life, I got a product to market, and the best learning experience I could ever have. But what I found out, and it's funny I'm talking about this now, Nicole, because last night I actually told this story for my own podcast show to show the journey of building an empire. And what I realized is my journey with Arctic Stick, it sells on Amazon now. You can find it. But it wasn't Arctic Stick. I thought at the beginning, Arctic Stick is what I want to do. I wanted to create a multi-$100 million company. I wanted to I was going for the money. But what I found out in the process, and for anybody listening, when you do something, at the time you may think it's what you want to do in life, but it doesn't matter. I mean, by doing things and making progress, other opportunities will come to you. So I was Arctic Stick all the way, and people saw my vision, they saw my determination, and they attracted to me, and other opportunities attracted me. But in the process, I built my foundation. I figured out what I really loved, which is helping people, speaking, and I'm a natural leader and building teams. And Arctic Stick led me to doing a podcast show, and then it led me to crowdfunding. And the big thing about crowdfunding, I'll look back. So it was December 31st, 2014, which is actually my 25th birthday. I'm born on New Year's Eve. It's a fun birthday.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
So I had this New Year's resolution. I wanted to, and at this time I had more clarity in my life, kind of what I wanted. So I wanted to be the best in crowdfunding. And I wanted to be the top influencer of the millennials. So I set out to do that. And I started the podcast show February 8th, 2015. And just, I didn't know anything starting, Nicole. Like I literally just uploaded. I'm like, yes, I got on iTunes. I'm like, yes. And everybody's like,
I did the same thing too.
and, everybody's like, one guy was like, everybody gets an iTunes, dude. I'm like, don't take away my glory. I got on iTunes. And
don't rain on my parade here.
Yeah, I know. And well, I kept going with that. Actually, what I did different is I always wanted to do things different. So I would stand out. I mean, there was a lot of podcasters, but what I did is I actually traveled to the people and interviewed them in their office. I went to Columbus, Ohio. I went to Arkansas. I went to Georgia. I went to California. I drove around the country and did a podcast tour. And that was my early episodes. It was fun. But within 8 weeks, I made top 50 most influential new business podcasts on iTunes. And that was a cool landmark. I saw that, okay, I can do this. At that point, I'm like, okay, I got to be credible as a crowdfunding expert. And what do most experts have? They have a book. So I sat down and sat in a coffee shop for 3 days. And if you ever go to Des Moines, it's on the corner 8th and Mulberry. There's a coffee shop called Scooters. There's a cushy, a nice chair there. I wrote my book there, spent 3 days, wrote the book on crowdfunding called Keys to the Crowd, Unlocking the Power of Crowdfunding. That's on Amazon too. Amazon sells a lot of stuff for me. So did that. And then I'm like, okay, I got to do something else different. I went on TV across the country. Been on TV in Vegas, Nevada, California, Florida, Indianapolis, Iowa. I mean, I could go on and on. And I talked about crowdfunding, but I promoted crowdfunding campaigns in them cities. I'd find a campaign on Kickstarter, Indiegogo, and I would see one I believed in, and I'd go on TV and I'd promote them at the end of the segment. And if you know anything about TV, like people like to support local things. And so I just talked about that campaign. The people, the campaign creators didn't know anything. Afterwards they did. But it was cool to see. But for me, that was where I kind of got the name King of Crowdfunding. And then I built a team around it, founded Keys to the Crowd. And what we did from there is I had ended up doing the campaign for John Lee Dumas. And that was, the funny thing is that was almost exactly a year after my New Year's resolution for being the best in crowdfunding. We did a campaign. We raised $453,000 in 33 days. And we made the fifth largest crowdfunding campaign in history for a book. So at that point, I had that, wow, I am an expert. Like, I actually know what I'm doing. And so just kind of move forward with that. But one more thing to kind of highlight on is during this whole process, I know I said I want to be the influencer. I built a team to create an event called Young Entrepreneur Convention. And we had crowdfunded the initial funding for that as well. And the one good thing to know is when you're doing things, you have a goal in life. And if, let's say you have multiple companies, make sure them companies can supplement each other towards your goal. Otherwise, you're spreading yourself too thin. My crowdfunding company, Keys to the Crowd, and then my company, Young Entrepreneur Convention, and even the TV show Ambitious Adventures goes towards my life goal, which I'll get to in a minute. But they all supplement each other. I don't take on anything if it doesn't align with my goals. I have to make sure it goes with my goals. So Young Entrepreneur Convention, we move forward with that. We put on the event last April 22nd and 23rd, and it was a huge success. We had the largest entrepreneur event in Iowa. We had 500 people there. And here's the thing. 7 months prior, I had never done an event before in my life. And our team had it. I had other people that joined me as a team, and we had speakers as Jeff Hoffman from Priceline, Kevin Harrington's Shark Tank. We had Greg Roulette was there. We had Caleb Maddox. Ken Shamrock was there. John Lee Dumas, Entrepreneur on Fire. The names go on and on. And we just had a great event. And that really, when you put on events, Nicole, if you want to become like the go-to authority, credibility, put on an event. And I did that. And that actually led me to meeting Greg. And that's where I believe the law of attraction really comes in. Greg and I were bound to meet. I mean, we now are going to crowdfund a TV show called Ambitious Adventures. And we're going to travel the country, go to 10 cities across the country, interview entrepreneurs in that city, and then highlight the city. And our whole purpose of this show is people watching, millennials, whoever it is, they see these different entrepreneurs that we interview, and they see what they've done, and they get inspired to do their own endeavor, their own business. Maybe they want to go travel that city and start a business themselves. We want to inspire them to do their own greatness. And that's what we're going to do with this TV show. And what do you know? It aligns with one of my companies. We're going to crowdfund it July 11th.
So I have a question for you.
Yes.
Well, first of all, I want to go back for a second before we get into Ambitious Adventures. You talked about with the Arctic Stick and crowdfunding and your book and all that stuff, and you did a lot of promotions. You did a lot of TV show, networking and all that stuff like that. Did you have experience doing that? Did you go to school for this?
No.
Like how did you initially okay, I need to make this amount of money. I need to go and, do these TV shows.
This is perfect. So, and this is something people think you need an education to do things. I'm always been the guy that, I got a college degree. I don't know how I got it, but I got it. I'm the kind of guy that if I want to learn something, I'll go learn it or I'll figure it out. We got Google. We can Google. And I would ask people, one cool thing, talk about promotion, which got me into doing a lot of TV. I've done a lot of commercials and acting and stuff. And why I had originally done that is because with Arctic Stick, I thought at one time that I was going to do an infomercial. And I wanted to be the pitch man for the infomercial. I didn't want anybody else to pitch my product. I wanted to be the pitch person. So I looked at a local agency. I started doing some commercials and stuff to get practice and learning. I even took some acting classes. And I learned, and I just kept doing more things. And then it was cool. I had commercials airing across the country, and people are like, "Is that you?" But I learned from it. I didn't know anything. In terms of marketing, I did do this. I did, before we launched Arctic Stick on the market, I did a graduate class at Iowa State. And I told my professor, I said, "I'm paying you to teach me." I said, "Honestly, I really don't care if I get a passing grade or not, because I'm never going to go back to college." I said, "I just want to learn a couple things for my product launch." Now, he didn't know what to say, because most kids going to school, they're like, they need the good grade, or so it doesn't look bad on their track record, whatever. Me, I knew I was never going to work for somebody. So I ended up passing the class, by the way. I learned a little bit from that class, but I got to the final. It was funny. And I said, "Do you even want me to take it? Because I'm going to fail it. I didn't study at all." And he's like, "Take it." I filled half of it out. I handed the rest in because I didn't know anything. And he passed me with a C. And the funny thing is, fast forward, it was this past year, I got asked to go speak at the College of Business to all the professors and everybody. And what do I know? Front row, there's a professor.
Shut up. That's awesome.
No joke. And it just goes to show, you don't have to be the smartest kid. There I am, speaking, telling my story about my success and what I've done to all these college kids and professors and the dean of business at Iowa State. University has 40,000 people. And there's me talking. And I look over, and there's a guy that I said, "I don't care if I pass or not. I just want to learn." And so the moral of the story is it doesn't matter if you have you can get a degree, but you don't need a degree. You don't have to be the smartest person, or you have to have this prestige poster or framed document to be very successful. You just gotta have to want it. You just gotta want it better than everybody else. And I've always said talent is good, but hard work beats talent every time. I have always been a hard worker and want it more than most people. So you gotta want it bad. And I kind of looped around with your question about marketing and everything. But my thing is really just try different things. I tried so many things. Nicole, I did things that completely didn't work, or I tried things that maybe I looked a little crazy, but I tried something. I took action. And what most people, their lack is action. They talk about something, they don't do it. I talk about something, then I do it. So take action and make mistakes and make pivots fast, and then build off them mistakes to create successes that can allow you to get to that next level.
That's very, very cool. So I want to go back to the Ambitious Adventures. So you talked about you guys go around the world and talk to entrepreneurs, millennial entrepreneurs. Is it just brick and mortar, or is it just, startup companies as well? Like, how did you vet these people?
So I've literally talked to like hundreds of entrepreneurs in the last month and a half. Like, everybody's submitting for this. And I mean, I already had known quite a few successful entrepreneurs because last year alone, I traveled to 27 states across the country. And I kind of know the people that are doing some cool stuff. And I'd first reach out to them and had other ones. But really, there's no real clear, like, we're doing brick and mortar, we're doing online. Like, for example, we got a guy that has a clothing store. It's a subscription box where we send out clothing each month. That's one of them. One of the companies is a salsa company. These guys sell salsa. We got a guy that does with social media. We got people that have virtual reality companies. It's just a variety. The whole thing is we want to highlight how they've got to where they're at, what they're doing, and then also showing the entrepreneurial hangouts in the city. Like, one example that comes to mind is St. Pete, Florida. You go to the Station House in St. Pete. If you ever are there, it is the best co-working space I've ever seen in my entire life. We filmed I filmed a video. So Kevin Harrington, inventor and infomercial, he was season 1 Shark Tank. Him and I were co-authoring a book together, but we did a crowdfunding campaign for him. We filmed the entire video in the Station House. You go in there, you got the co-working space, you have a coffee shop area, espresso, tea, coffee, food, and then you have right next door a yoga studio. You have little segmented areas, and then you go in the basement, there's a bar and restaurant. And then upstairs is a balcony with another yoga area or air just to meditate or overlook a great view. Best co-working space I've ever seen.
All you need is a bed and you're good, right?
No, and the saying is, like, these are the things that I've seen across the country. So when we go into these cities, we're going to show these entrepreneur hangouts, but then we're going to show the entrepreneurs that are making a big impact in their community.
That's very cool. And so, you guys highlight millennials, but what do you think is the difference between, like, the millennial entrepreneurs compared to, like, a Gen X and older?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely going to be some segments where we highlight people that are not quite the millennial range. Big thing with millennials is, I mean, Greg's 33, I'm 26, we're millennials, but the whole highlight, everything I've done is Young Entrepreneur Convention, University of Young Entrepreneurs. I mean, I'm all about the young entrepreneurs. And we as millennials we look at things in a whole new way. And it's not about the money for us. We're about collaboration. We're about creating awesome stuff. We're about making an impact. We do it our own way. We don't like to listen to the regular rules that some people go by. We're just a different breed. And it's really cool to see how we're creating our own companies and how the atmosphere is. So our whole thing is we want to highlight what the millennials are doing because they are the next generation of leaders. And we'll show that. But also there are others that are helping support the millennials. And one example is Joel Comm. He does a lot of online stuff. He's not quite a millennial, but he's somebody that is really helping highlight the millennials, and he's fascinated by them. So just some examples there. But
okay.
But yeah.
So all in all, even if the entrepreneurs are older, they're all centered around millennials.
Yeah, I mean that's the highlight. But I mean, we get some other people that are going to come on the show that are, I guess, celebrities in their field that may not be quite the millennials, but they have a good story to tell.
That's very cool. So tell me something good. Give me some juice. Like, tell me something that you haven't told everyone else. Come on now.
That's something I can't. So we launched, I don't know when this is coming out, but we launched on July 11th, and we haven't actually officially announced the cities. So we're going to launch and then announce the first 5 cities, and then from there, each funding goal, we're going to actually announce other cities. And I mean, I have a pretty good idea on what cities we'll be going to. And I'll just say this, they aren't the cities you would think. They're cities they're innovative cities that I've seen that are very entrepreneurial, but most people, they don't know that. They think, if I need to start a company, I need to go to San Francisco, or I need to go to New York or Silicon Valley. Like, no, there's other cities out there that are very entrepreneurial, have a lot of money, and you can start a company at a very cheap amount of money. So I can't announce the celebrities we have on yet. It's going to be some cool people, and we're going to have in our following for just people in social media reach between them will be well over 30 million. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, we have some big names on board, and it's exciting for me. And I got to say, for just my dream come true, it's really come true. And, looking back in time, this is something I really want to highlight for people, because a lot of people, they look at something like where I'm at now, or they look at Gary Vaynerchuk or Lewis Howes or Grant Cardone, all these people, and they're like, I want to be that person. I want to be that, how to get to them. And they don't realize that it took them years to get to that point. I mean, Gary Vaynerchuk's 40, Grant Cardone's in his 50s, Lewis Howes, I think, is 35. These people, it didn't happen overnight. I mean, some took 10, 15 years. And people got to realize that overnight success is not true. It's overnight success years in the making. And I found out starting back in 2012, when I really got my drive to go do things, I thought at the time that I wanted to do Arctic Stick the rest of my life. But I didn't. I realized what I really wanted. And I just did a bunch of different things. And it led me to where I'm at now. So for somebody out there, you may not know what you want to do right now. You may not know what your passion is, but try different things, get your feet wet, and learn from them. And you can use them experiences as a foundation for once you do figure out exactly what you want. Would I ever thought that I would be a host of a TV show and going across the country and interviewing entrepreneurs? Like, that is a dream come true for me. And I got there to that point because I believed in an invention that led me to many other things. And I just never gave up. There's a lot of failures I had along the way. A lot of things that most people would quit. But if you keep going, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and you can't beat somebody that never quits. And I just never quit. And after 4 years, I still got a long ways to go, but after 4 years, a complete grind and hard times, I'm at a place right now where I'm very happy, and I just can't believe what I'm doing. It's a surreal moment. And some people look and they're like, how do you do it? Well, it's because I went through all the BS that most people wouldn't. And
you grew.
I grew.
You definitely,
and I kept,
as a person.
I did things that scared me. Always doing things that scare me. Because when you do things that scare you, you grow. You get better. And for anybody listening, just, if you want to go after your dreams, just realize it's going to take time. It's well worth the journey. And it may go somewhere that you may not even expect. 4 years ago, I would have never thought that I would be a motivational speaker, speaking across the country, putting on events, and working with the big names I am now, and then doing a TV show. Like, I would have never thought it. Never. And hey, now I'm doing it.
That's so cool. So right now, I want to go a little deeper. I want you to give some personal wisdom to my dream achievers out there.
Yeah.
What is your definition of success?
It's funny you asked that, because I just did a podcast show on this called "What is Your Definition of Success?"
That's so funny.
We
think alike, huh?
Yeah, we do. So, definition of success, and I think most people they maybe take the wrong meaning on this. Success is in many forms, and I think some people think that success is based off of the dollar sign, how much money you make, and that's not true. I think that in my mind, success is doing something that you love and being the best at it, and just making the biggest impact along the way. So if you want to be great at singing, you be the best damn singer you could ever be. Be a great singer, practice, master your craft every single day, and always get better. That is success. Doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter the other variables, but if you're the best at it and you enjoy what you're doing, you're happy, you're passionate, you're alive. I can tell you, when I'm on stage speaking, I feel alive. It's a drug for me. For you, if you like to sing, when you're on stage, you're singing, you're alive, you're doing good at it, that's success. And when you do that, the money will come. When you do something you're passionate about, the money does come. But if you're chasing the money, you're not going to get to where you want to go. So again, my definition of success is being the best you could possibly be at something that you love, enjoy, and making the biggest impact along the way.
So what is your message to the world?
My message to the world is this: we all have something great. We all do. We all have a gift. And you may not know what your gift is, but figure out what your gift is and in your passion and just use it to the best of your ability. I believe it's your duty as a human being to be the best you can possibly be at what you have. A lot of people, they waste talent or they don't go after something. What scares me, they think it's risk to go after something, to go after their next company they've always thought of, or to go be a singer or be a speaker, whatever. But you know what's a risk? Not going after it. That scares me if you don't go after it. Because what if you wake up one day, you're 80 years old, and you look back and you realize you didn't do the things you wanted to do? That's scary. So I think all of us, we have a gift, and my purpose is to inspire them and to motivate them and be the example to show them that you can go after something. And if you do, good things will happen. And I want people to be impacted by that. My goal, December 31st, 2029, I will have impacted 1 billion people. So I have 14 years and 6 months to do that. And I will be doing that through my team. I have a big team. We will do through TV, podcasting, motivational videos, throwing events, crowdfunding, raising money, and helping support other people, and building awareness and building our team. We are going to do that. That's a goal of ours. We'll impact 1 billion lives. And with our exponential growth of technology and with 50 billion devices hitting the internet by 2020, it's actually a lot more feasible than most people think. So we have that goal in mind, and everything we do right now, it has to align with that goal. If somebody comes to me, if the opportunity isn't aligned with that goal, I do not take it on, because that's where I want to be. And I believe I have this gift of inspiring and motivating and getting these people to do these things. So I want them to do that. That's my purpose. That's my why. That's my everything.
That's awesome. So how do you stay grounded? I know you do a lot.
I do. I do.
And how do you stay grounded through those hard times?
I have a team. You can't go far without a team. I have learned, and everything bases in how I speak about Think and Grow Rich. If you build a mastermind team that work in perfect harmony towards a common goal, you can get there. So while Wednesday, I did a photo shoot, a video shoot all day. And I had three other people working while I was doing that. One was doing everything for preparing for a launch. One person was creating content for another thing. One was sending out for media. Like, people do the things I'm not good at, and I do what I'm good at. What I'm good at is doing these shows and going and speaking and being the guy that either for my company's bringing in the big opportunities, closing deals, or just being the person that's out in the field. And that's my brand, and the Brandon T. Adams brand of just who I am as a person. Every company has either their logo, what that stands for, or their person. And that's me. And I do it because I have a team. But I will say, sometimes it gets a little overwhelming. And I little sleepless nights. But I meditate. I work out every single day. I batch my work up. And I try not to get too overwhelmed. Sometimes I just take a little break for myself. And another thing too, I'm very humble of things that have come to me. Sometimes people see when I'm talking about things I'm doing, and they think I'm maybe ignorant, or I don't know what the word is for talking about success. But for one, I guess the story is what people need to hear. They need to hear the story of how I'm getting to where I'm going. I'm a kid that's no different than anybody else. I grew up in a town of 750 people. I'm a motivational speaker. When I was a kid, I had a speech impediment. I had a lisp. I couldn't speak. And I overcame that physical disability by practicing in front of a mirror and then doing things that scared me. Now I'm a great speaker. I bet you wouldn't notice that. I podcasting, TV, everything. I wasn't the smartest kid. I about dropped out of college. That didn't stop me. I just kept going. So for you out there, anybody that has a disability, has something wrong, or they think that they don't have enough money, they're not smart enough, whatever the reason is, don't let that be your excuse. Because I'm living proof that you can do anything if you want to. Whatever the mind conceives and believes the mind achieves, you can get there if you just go for it. And how bad do you want it? That's the biggest thing. How bad do you actually want it?
I appreciate you sharing that. That's awesome. And that is really empowering to hear. Even when I first started this, in Bakersfield, we have like a little southern drawl. Like a lot of these people are from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So everyone has kind of like a southern accent in a way. So I had to actually practice enunciating my words because I would slur them a little bit. That was something I had to overcome, definitely.
But you did. And here's the thing, like, I mean, people can be cruel in middle school and like elementary. Like, so many people made fun of me because I couldn't speak. And I just knew I wanted to be great. So I practiced in front of a mirror. And I even like listened to myself speak and recorded, and like I did everything. And I mean, if you really want to change something, you can. It takes time. I mean, it's harder when you build a habit for something, but you can change it. And it's funny because I spoke at a school once. A girl came up to me and she had a lisp. And I told her, she's like, how did you like, because I told her a story. I told her some things to do and practice and do this and that. 2 weeks later, she sent me an email. She said, thank you so much, Brennan. She's like, I already can tell the difference. I'm getting better at speaking. And like, that was like, wow, that was worth $1 billion.
Oh yeah, that's so humbling.
Yeah, it is. And these are the stories along the way that I get. And I believe the story that I have, being able to go after, and I believe like I really have the mindset I can achieve anything. And just because of my past, I mean, I had a great childhood, but some of the things I had to overcome just shows me that it doesn't matter where you come from, what your lack of whatever it is, you can achieve something and you can go after it and you can make it happen. So if I can go tell that story to the rest of the world, they can be inspired. Or if I can let them know that they are great as a person, that if they can actually go do it, then my work is done. So that's what I'm spending my life doing.
So could you give one piece of priceless advice? I know you've done tons of nuggets of knowledge here, but one piece of priceless advice to those inspiring dream achievers out there.
I'm going to give you a few.
No one ever does one.
Yeah, because I think you need this. Had a kid that was working with us the other day in our video shoot. He was 17 years old, and he said, what advice would you give me from what you've done? Here's my advice. Figure out first what you want. What is your why? Why do you even want to do it? Sometimes, I mean, I found out along the way, like I'd sit back and after working hundreds of hours a week and doing all this crazy stuff, I'd be like, why am I actually doing this? So like, figure out your why. Why are you doing it? What's your purpose? What do you want in life? Once you figure out what you want, then it's a great feeling. It's got to be something you're passionate about, though. Do something you're passionate about. But once you figure out what you want, find somebody who's already done it. Because there's people out there. I've always said, find somebody who's already achieved what you want to achieve. Follow in their footsteps. Even ask for them to mentor you. Add value to them. Heck, do work for them for free for a month. I mean, literally, that's the best education you get, because I can tell you right now from my experience, that free work that you do, you're getting free education from them, but also they're going to be indebted to you and they're going to see the value you bring, and they might even end up working with you or become a business partner. I mean, one of my business partners today heard me speak back in October, and he heard me speak, and then I led him to multiple books and stuff. And then from there, he added massive value for 6 months without anything in return. Well, fast forward to now, he's a business partner for me, and he's on the journey with me to create everything we're doing. He added value. So for you, anybody else, add value to others. Follow in the footsteps of somebody that already achieved what you want to achieve. Be confident. The biggest thing people lack is confidence. I don't know why. You got to have confidence. And some people, sometimes my confidence, people mistaken it for ignorance or cockiness or whatever you may call it. But it's not. It's just me being able to tell myself that I can do it, because when you can convince your mind you can do something, then you can do it. So be confident. Everybody out there should be confident that you're all awesome. And whatever the mind conceives and believes, the mind achieves. Whatever you think you can do, you can do. You have to convince your mind that you can do it. Write it down every day. Visualize it. It becomes a reality. Actually, the law of attraction will kick into place, because when you say to the world, the universe, what you want, you write it down, you visualize it, you become more aware of the opportunities. And the opportunities will present themselves and they'll come to you. I've seen it time after time after time. it happens. And it's just crazy. There's no coincidence. The law of attraction. So go out and just believe in yourself and do what you want, because life is so short. You could die tomorrow. You look back in your life, some people now, if you would look back in your life and you're unhappy, I mean, why? Well, for me, I always say, like, if I die tomorrow, I've lived a great life. I'm 26 years old. Can anybody else say that? If you can, that's awesome. If not, you should look at your life and realize you should live it as if every day was your last, and do something you're passionate about. Don't work for the money, and don't do something to be stuck in a job that you hate for whatever reason it is. You need to do something you love.
I love that. And here at the Dreamaholic Podcast, I'm all about giving. So what dreams could we help you achieve?
That's awesome. Well, my dream, my goal, and which will be my reality in 2029, is to impact 1 billion lives. So anyway, anybody listening out there can help in that process to help our team impact 1 billion people, whatever value you think you may bring. I'm always looking for people to build my team. I will ask anybody that comes to me, you have to read the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. You have to read the book How to Make Friends Influence Others by Dale Carnegie. And you have to listen to 10 of my podcast shows before you can even have the time to work with me. Because at least you can speak on that level, and you can obviously you got to prove that you are willing to work with a team. The biggest thing is the TV show we're doing. Ambitious Adventures is going to be doing a lot of good. It's not like a reality TV show that people are like, I don't know, causing drama to create TV. Like, we're actually going to have a real cool show, and we're doing a Kickstarter campaign here in July. And you can just find it by going to ambitious.com/adventures, or find a Kickstarter. And for $10, you can get a download of the season before anybody else gets it. So you support that campaign, and you're supporting entrepreneurs out there. You're supporting dreamers, doers. You're supporting something that's better than all of us combined. So that's what I would love. And just for anybody out there too, is it's your duty to do what you love. Do it for me, do it for you, do it for your mom, your dad, whoever. You need to do something that makes you happy. Don't live life being mediocre. Live life doing things that you love and being the best at it.
So that's what you have to do, guys. You need to go check out Ambitious Adventures, go to crowdfunding, help him donate, promote his new show with Greg, and really help to share him and his work and his progress. He is awesome. I love talking to you. You've been awesome today. So before we go, how do we connect with you? And do you have any current opportunities or upcoming projects other than, adventures?
Yeah, I mean, you can find me at brandontadams.com. It's my website. Or, hey, I'm really big on Snapchat. I don't know if you do Snapchat, Nicole, but
the funny thing is, I'm 29, but I'm probably one of the old ladies of everything.
Oh, please.
When it comes to social media, I just don't get the thrill of it or anything. And so I just recently got Snapchat, and I had to YouTube how to do half the crap on that.
It's basically just,
I don't get the logic of it yet.
It's like it's experience. It's like people they feel like they're in your life. It's like having your own reality TV show. So my Snapchat handle is BTAdams18. BTAdams18. I show everything. I mean, people get to see some cool stuff in my life. From video shoots, from meeting big names, doing different jobs. I mean, crazy stuff when I travel. They'd actually get to see everything we do with the TV show we're filming this fall. But I don't know. It's a cool new approach. There's some big things happening with it. But you find me on Snapchat, find me a website, or if you just want to find me on Instagram or Twitter at BrandonTAdams18.
Awesome. Any new other than Ambitious Adventures? Or?
Ambitious. The biggest thing right now is Ambitious Adventures. I mean, we got some big things coming up, a lot in the works, but that's one of the big things right now, Ambitious Adventures, and just me doing some speaking and other projects with crowdfunding. It's exciting. Every single day is a new journey, but the TV show is a big one right now, and I'm excited to get it taken off.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Brandon, for coming on to the show, and you guys, check it out. Check him out. Go to his crowdfunding, donate $10, check out Ambitious Adventures. And to all my dream achievers out there, if you like the show, please subscribe, rate, and review. And always remember to strive to be different. Thank you. Bye.